Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Dear listeners, I salute you with the salutation of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're listening to The Art of Living with me, Wa'il al-Harrasi al-Lami al-Haj. Today we have a very important topic. As always, all our topics are important. Yeah. It's about reading. Reading. What type of reading? What is it that we want to talk about today about reading? Why is it important? Who are we targeting? All of this we'll discover, inshallah, in the next hour or so. We have a couple of guests today who will join us via the phone, inshallah ta'ala. However, talking about reading is a topic which is a little bit sad. Yeah, it should be a happy one. It should be a happy topic today. However, the sad story is when I posted the ad today on Twitter, someone replied back because the topic itself, when we gave the title, we said you are what you read, and that's exactly the title of today's show. You are what you read. But someone replied back, said we don't read,
and that's why we're here.
That's why we are here. However, we're not here today to draw a very gloomy picture. It's an issue that we need to highlight. Exactly. However, we need to focus on the positive side and what can we do about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, just to first of all, would like to highlight that there is an issue.
Mm-hmm.
That is not it's not something hidden or something that is unknown. But just to start off with a little bit of statistics, and this can be argued about, but there's, according to one report released in January 2012, it says that the Arab reads an average of 6 minutes a year. 6 minutes a year. That's a shocking.
6 minutes?
Yes, 6 hours, 6 minutes a year.
In the Arab world?
Yeah, and this is from the Arab Thought Foundation, Fikr. It's released during the 4th Annual Culture Development Conference. So this was released. However, the statistics itself is unclear. The Arabs read 6 minutes of what? Magazines, of novels, or is it the total amount of reading? But the most important is that where did the actual number come from? I mean, how did they do this research? So some people raise an eyebrow as of, is the 6 minutes true or not? Although it has been repeated so many times from different occasions. But whether it's 6 minutes, as one report says, or 14 minutes, as another report says, or half a page, according to another report, all these numbers are very small.
Yes.
So it's not about the 6 minutes itself. That's just a symbol. But the message is that we are reading very little as compared to what we can read.
And I guess if I'm allowed to assume, how did they get to those numbers? I think it excludes, in the Arab world, it excludes the number of minutes we read the Quran.
Yes.
Yeah. It will exclude newspapers and magazines.
Yes.
And I assume the number of minutes of reading is reading a proper book to gain knowledge.
Yeah, something out of pleasure. Not studying, not getting news, but something that you read out of pleasure. Out
of pleasure and to gain knowledge, because it's very easy to confuse, the pleasure you get from reading a fashion magazine.
Yes, that's true.
And we know that people might spend hours and hours reading those magazines.
And celebrity news
and gossip and all of that. People do read them. And if we look at the statistics today, probably it also excludes the hours and hours we spend reading WhatsApp messages.
Yes.
Yeah? We do read those.
I have another statistics, actually. This one is a bit more clear on how they conducted it. So it says a survey done by the Middle East, that's discussing reading habits in the Middle East in April 2011. They actually made a very depressing figure here. It said only 1 in 5 read on regular basis. And among the people they interviewed or questioned, which was 3,667 people, under 25 years old, nearly 65% said they seldom read a book.
Really?
Ever. Yes.
I think
that's a shocking number.
It is definitely a shocking number. And I think we need to, ask our listeners, how much do they read? Yeah. Don't be, shy. Let us know, how much do you read? Call us on 24602058. That's 24602058. And share with us your views on reading, the importance of reading, and why is it that we don't read? Why is it that the nation of Islam, Muslims today, who read the Quran, and the first verse of the Quran was Iqra, read.
Recite.
Yeah? Read and recite. Why is it that we don't read.
And we need to make one point here that clears that we are generalizing. We are generalizing because we have a lot of people out there who are Arabs, who are highly, who read a lot of books.
True.
They almost always have a book in their hands. So of course, we're not talking about those individual cases. We're talking about a trend, an increasing trend among the youth and the younger generation who are shifting from using these physical books, reading these books, into maybe falling under the trap of using the internet a little bit more. So if we were to assume, I would be underestimating really, but if I were to assume that we use at least a minimum of 1 hour, if we spend 1 hour a day on internet, which I'm sure people use spend more than 1 hour.
Yeah.
But if we actually use 1 hour a day surfing the net, that will give us 365 hours a year on the internet, compared to 6 minutes a year on reading.
Absolutely.
So this is just telling you how it's apparent how people are shifting towards using the internet more, and maybe that can be one of the reasons why people are, moving away from reading.
In your opinion, do you think it's the lifestyle that we lead? Oh, we have a caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Malaikum salam. I am Sashanka calling from Salala.
Oh, Shankar, how are you?
Yes, fine. I used to listen to this program while I was driving, from home to office back. So it's a good educational program.
Thank you very much.
Insights has been discussed.
Yes.
Today's topic I heard now is it's about reading.
Yes.
Yes. So what I want to add value is like in what I have seen. I am here in this country now 8.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of young graduates, young staff joining from various universities to our company, and we try to train them.
Mm-hmm.
So as you said, now they read a lot of maybe football news, a lot of maybe newspaper, political news.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said, something that gets added to their brain, which I think Dr. Lamia mentioned, reading out of pleasure to add some knowledge to their brain, that is very less.
Yeah.
So that I also saw one research one speech I think done by one religious scholar, maybe in a Kuwaiti mosque or something like that, and he mentioned I don't know from where he had that figure.
Yeah.
But he also mentioned that the average working time in the entire Gulf region is also less than 1 hour per day. He mentioned effective working hours.
Effective working
yes.
hours.
So efficiency at work as well.
I also didn't understood because it's in Arabic, but it was going in the translation.
Okay.
Like effective hours is less than 1 hour. So I did not know how he mentioned, as he said, what do you mean by effective? But he's trying to give a message saying that we drive foreign cars, we use a lot of latest gadgematic, but what we as in GCC going to make to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that type of message he was giving. So I was trying to add value here, saying that this young generation coming from Omani schools, Omani universities, should read more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Should read more, something which is valuable for their profession, and do some research activities, spend some time on education rather than, reading only football news or seeing only the football matches or only seeing the political news in the newspaper. That is what my message.
Thank you very much. That was a very valuable message to everyone out there, especially for the young ones. Thank you, Shankar.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're saying this is a very strong message that,
what
people,
are we reading?
What are we reading?
Yeah.
And people have realized that people, they start careers with not even some, any type of extra knowledge via reading.
Yeah.
And all they read, even at the time when they are really should be serious about work, they read about football, they read about players. And he was relating that to another statistic, which says that the effective hours of work is actually 1 hour. And I do believe that, because a lot of people, if you see the amount of work they do in the 8 hours, you could simply concentrate in 1 hour and just finish it off.
Absolutely. And you find the first half of the morning gone with coffee and coffee dates and a newspaper.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
that's absolutely true.
unfortunately.
So would you link that, Lamia, to our attitudes towards life in general?
Absolutely. I think it's what you read and how much you read is reflected when you start speaking.
Yeah.
When the more you read, the more knowledge you gain, the more interesting things you have to say. But when you find somebody who's sitting there gossiping about other people, or talking about nonsense, or talking about celebrities for hours, or then you know what kind of, what are they doing in their free time? What are these people doing in their free time?
Yeah.
I personally don't enjoy sitting with such a person who is not educated enough to talk about something that can grab my attention, that I can gain something out of. If I'm not going to sit there talking to somebody for hours about how many cosmetic surgeries did this celebrity do and why and when, and I think it's absolutely a waste of time.
True. And there was a quote. There is a quote that never trust anyone who never brought a book with them. Yeah.
Yes.
And that reflects exactly. We have a call, but that it reflects exactly what you have just said. That if someone is talking a lot and never brought a book with them, then where are they coming with all that information from? Yeah.
Exactly.
So we have a caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Hi.
Hi.
This is Hadil Al Musa from London.
Oh, Hadil.
Hadil.
Welcome
Yes.
to the show, Hadil. It's really an honor.
Thank you.
At last we've got hold of
It's
you.
my honor.
Hadil,
How is everything?
Is it as hot in London as it is here in Oman right now?
No, it's a nice weather, especially in the last couple of days.
I'm sure it is. Thank you for calling, Hadil.
Well, I wanted to participate. I love the statement. I don't know if it's a statement or a fact that you are what you read. Which category do you put that in? Is it a statement or a fact?
I would say that's a fact.
I would say it's a fact, yeah. They're different titles. You are what you eat, you are what you read, and I think they both fit in just right.
It's just a reflection point of view that I would say you are what you eat or you are what you read is an outcome. But if we go beyond that part in terms of when we read or when we pick the titles, I would like to look at ourselves and reflect. We pick titles according to our interest, which we usually develop from our surrounding, or something that we lack and we would like to develop or know more.
Yeah, I
As
think.
a parent, come on. Sorry, is it Lamia? You wanted to say something?
No, not at all. Please carry on.
Did that sound like Lamia? That was me.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Is there anything that you would like to add?
No, it's
Comment.
okay. It's okay. I was just going to say that it's actually what we aspire to be, because the title it did not reflect really our reality, but it reflects what we aspire to have and what we aspire to be.
Yes, absolutely, and that's always what I always recommend all the parents, that when we see our kids starting to pick books, or when we start to pick books, before we actually go deeper, it's like a question that we need to ask ourselves: what made me pick that book, and why? The thing is, when you start knowing why you picked that book from the first beginning, you start knowing what you want. It's sort of you are exploring, but there is a very general perception about yourself why you're doing that.
That's
so it's
true.
more of a reflective journey.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Hadil. And again, there's shocking statistics that most of the Arab women pick the cookbook. So most of the sales are from cookbooks in our, unfortunately.
So you see that as a shocking statement or shocking statistics, I mean?
Yes. I mean, I would, it's disappointing that that's the main sales, the bestseller is only for the cookbooks.
To me, it's really good. Yeah, it's good news for me.
The mainstream that women need to cook to be a woman, so we need to think about the values that we're actually injecting in our women. And so that's the mainstream that reflects what people's interests are. And the thing is, by the way, even the books that are available to everyone, which books are available to everyone? Are the cooking books.
Yeah. I think it's a cultural thing that we...
Yeah.
It's a cultural thing that we tend not to make our own decisions. We just go by what is out there. Rather than seeking of what is necessary for us, we just go for what is out there. If it's a cookbook, I'll go for a cookbook. Yeah? I think if we talk about fashion and what we wear, it's not what we really want. It's what's out there.
Yes.
Yeah, and that will be the excuse always. And I believe it's the same with books as well. Do you agree with that?
Exactly. That's the thing. It's what's available, and why did I pick that book?
Yeah.
What am I looking for? And sometimes even when I have the discussion with other parents, because my kids are teenagers, like which books do you allow them to read? I tell them before we actually control them which books they need to read. Let me see, if I take him to a bookshop, what kind of book he's gonna pick.
That's a good
What
point.
kind of book he's gonna read, and that makes you think what kind of values you actually, inserted in his mind. Without really saying, we don't really say to anyone, do this and do that. He will never do it. It's the way we carry ourselves. If the kids saw you reading, they will have that habit. There's a very interesting research, but that was a long time ago. I can't remember, so don't quote me on this. That if you are if you have books at home, the kids grow with the smell, being familiar with the smell of the book, with the voice of the pages when they flip. So they start having a relationship or a familiar relationship with books, the tangible books. That's not something that you tell them, read or have books at home. You have books at home, they're going to have books at home.
Absolutely.
So what kind of books? If it's all cooking books, trust me, the girl's going to end up having cooking books.
I agree with you, Hadil. Excellent point, Hadil. So basically, you are emphasizing that almost you agree with the title, that you are what you read.
I agree with the title to a certain extent, but I would say let's go beyond and reflect.
Yeah.
What do we pick and why?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Hadil, for your call. Thank you so much. We were very pleased with your phone call and enjoyed the beautiful weather in London. Another call?
That was a good surprise from Hadil, really.
Yes.
We used to have her in our previous shows, and it's good to have her today as well.
Hello?
We have another call. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Hello?
Who's this?
Hello?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Who is this?
This is Dr. Abdul Hamid Al-Kitani.
Ahlan wa sahlan, Dr. Abdul Hamid. How are you?
I'm fine. I just wanted to contribute in the program.
Absolutely. It's good to have you.
Dr. Lamia just mentioned just a few minutes ago about the shocking statistics that cooking books, it's the cooking books. And also, I would say Tafsir al-Ahlam books as well, the interpretation of...
that, yes.
they are the one leading, the market at the moment, which might suggest, we are the nation who like to sleep and who like to eat more than anything else, if
Absolutely.
you want to put it in a funny way.
That is true.
But I totally agree. But I wouldn't also take the whole issue as a totally negative, because I could see people around me who started to read just because they are carrying things that help them to read. So primarily, for instance, everyone is having smartphones nowadays. It is primarily for making calls, but also from there they can receive WhatsApp, useful, things in WhatsApp, and then they can read about it, or iPad for work, and then they can start. I can see, these tools have started to really encourage people to start reading. So I wouldn't take it totally negative that, we are a nation that do not read at all.
Yeah.
I think there are tools now that they can help people, or at least encourage some people who never used to read, and now they started to read.
Yes, valid point. Yeah, valid point. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your phone call.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. I think there's another call.
We are about to be in line with Dr. Mahdi.
Yes.
Dr. Mahdi is a very regular on the show. He's been here twice, and we couldn't do without him.
Absolutely.
He's a man of too many talents. Yeah. And reading, of course, is always associated with people like Dr. Mahdi, and we would like to have his insight.
Yes.
We're waiting for our director to make the phone call and give us the cue that he's on the phone with us. There are a lot of quotes on reading. It says that a man who reads lives 1,000 lives, and a man who doesn't read lives one life only. Yeah, which is absolutely true. And it says that with every page you open, it opens a door which brings more light into your life. Yeah. So reading is certainly something that we need to have. I think we have Dr. Mahdi on the phone. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Dr. Mahdi, it's good to hear your voice again.
Thank you very much. Pleasure is mine.
You're welcome. Welcome at the show again. And as you know, our topic today is about reading. The title is You Are What You Read. We've just had a call from Hadil Al-Musa, who didn't totally agree with the title and said we need to look beyond than just our reality and think of why are we not reading. Yeah. So I would probably pose this question. Why is it that we reached such a state that we don't read?
Well, it's a kind of puzzle, so it seems, for many. But I think this is a self-fulfilling prophecy, like, how do you develop and work on this skill? Because reading is a skill.
Yeah.
And skills need to be, taught and learned and implemented.
Mm-hmm.
And as you move on, you develop it in a kind of habitual manner.
Yeah.
So any time that is spent without reading is a void, is a vacuum.
Yeah.
So you will notice, of course, you may have noticed and observed definitely in the West, people, if they are traveling in a public transportation system, you will find them picking up a book from their their handbag or the sack they carry for shopping, and they start reading.
Yeah.
And when you read, it's not something that you engage your eyes into looking into the lines and the paragraphs and the sentences. It's about a skill whereby anything you read is contextualized. So there are skills that are taught while reading the skimming and scanning, for example. And skimming and scanning means that when you read, you kind of keep within your system the gist of what you have read. So you extract the meaning, the values, the moral lessons that are in the reading that is involved.
Yeah.
And I think that in our country this is something that needs to be worked out at home.
Yeah.
And kind of consolidated at school.
Yeah.
And at schools, the problem is that our kids are very much involved in the curriculum issue and the books that they are given. And we all know, the anecdote about the weight of the school bag that the kids carry on their back.
True.
And I recall, during my stay, for example, in Glasgow.
Yeah.
My kids used to go to a public school, and when they come back home, they don't carry anything with them. So we get panicked. How is that? Kids go to school and they don't have homework. This is something outlandish. So
it's an alien concept to our country.
I went asking the headmistress, what is it that is happening? So she smiled, a big loving smile of hers, and she said, the kids' time at home, it's their own. We are finished with the children while they are in school.
Yeah.
So they have nothing else to do that relates to the school. So at home they will They will feel that they are members of family and so on. It took us some time before we realized that the value of this practice there. And you would find the kids, they go to whatever they read. It is their own choice with a little help. Whatever they read, it's part and parcel of their growing up. And I think that this is the focus that we need to kind of give us our due attention.
Yeah.
Because reading is about a skill that has to be developed at the early childhood kid.
Absolutely.
You
Yes.
need to know that, you can motivate them in a variety of ways. And this kind of motivation can be transcended into the school environment, and so on and so forth. And kids will have a multiplier effect at home as well.
Yeah.
So if you see that your kids are reading or involved in reading and telling you about the fascinating world of what they have read, it is contagious.
That's true.
You, as a grown-up, you will start feeling guilty. Why is it so that the kids are not, you are not matching your kids in their search for knowledge and growth? And I think that this is you look in Oman, it is very unfortunate, for example, as we were discussing today with a group of concerned parties, that there are no public libraries, for example.
Yes.
Or if
Thank you
there
for
are,
starting to. Yeah.
those public libraries are very few. And even there are some private kind of libraries in the wilayat, in some of the wilayat. All you find in those private libraries, you will find books of the religious books or hadith or fiqh as important as these are, but they do not fall in the domain of the layman or the many faceted kind of areas of interest of an individual.
Absolutely.
I'm really glad that you brought this up, Dr. Mahdi, the idea of having libraries. I mean, even the libraries that are sponsored by the government, they're in the most, I'm sorry to say this, but the most awkward areas. You know these gates that at every wilayat, that they started putting those on the highways, that they cost about $1 million or so. And I've heard that in some of those, you have the library there, on the highway.
You serious?
Yes. The library is there.
Yeah,
I don't know what type of message are we trying to say.
The problem is that this is the situation that we have created.
Yeah?
Our forefathers, now I'm sure that you know, Dr. Wael, that Al-Farabi, Al-Kindi, Ibn Sina, and thousands of those names, Ibn Khaldun, they were encyclopedic.
Yeah.
You will find the scholar is a physician, is a doctor, who bases his work on evidence-based, as we now call it in the modern terminology, the jargon that is used in the medical profession.
Yeah.
And people used to, like worms, they used to eat books, eat scripts, and there were no facilities like lights and good lighting and the advices that we keep receiving about how healthy it is, how do you go about in your sitting arrangements to read something and so on.
Yeah.
People used to read using the moonlight areas or a small candle, but that was not an impediment for them to continue reading. And you will find in many libraries in the industrial West that those books, Ibn al-Haytham and Ibn Sina, Sheikh Ibn Sina, and many others, those were the books that were translated into the European languages, inclusive of English, and those form the basis for the classical science. Because now people tend to say classical science is something Western as a concept, and it can only be understood and in its context, which is not the case.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Muslim, you remember, of course, Al-Khalifa al-Ma'mun during the Abbasid dynasty.
Yeah.
He used to weigh the book that is produced by scholars and translated by scholars as well.
Yeah.
He used to weigh them in gold and will compensate the remuneration of the translator or the interpreter or the author is the weight of the product in gold.
So we could see how they behaved, how the governments behaved, and how they encouraged, and then we also were able to see where they have been and what they became. Yeah, how magnificent and great they became. My question to you, and in the next 2 minutes, please, Dr. Mahdi, if we read as a society today a book a month, yeah, where do you see us in the near future?
Well, you are what you read, as you rightly said, is the what you have labeled your discussion.
Yeah.
And for a nation to progress, it has to catch up with what is new.
Yeah.
And what is new is available in a variety of forms. That is correct. Books, periodicals are one or two forms of disseminating the new knowledge.
Yeah.
But unless you first build this skill, this habitual skill within your new generation, we have said, if you recall, that 60% of our population are the youth, the youngsters. Now, there are few excellent projects. One of them is propagated by a small group called Kilmeteen Ras. I wonder if you
yes, we know them.
So they initiated a project whereby they open up a reading corner in coffee shops, and they put books, and everyone is allowed to have access to these books. It is limited, of course, in terms of the scope and the availability, and sometimes in practices. People will say that books is a property of all.
Yeah.
So no one is allowed to claim ownership of a book.
Yeah.
It is owned by the reader, and once he's done with the book, someone else should read it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not to collect those books as the properties and so on.
Yeah.
And I sincerely believe that if we are not, reading a book a month is not enough. Probably.
Yeah.
You need to do more.
Yeah.
And it is also, you would start with the concept of reading as a habit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then once you develop this habitual exercise, then you will start being selective.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So then you will start reading what book you want to read. And we know, of course, if you work in an area like medicine or whatever, they would say they would tell the physician that unless you update, you develop your knowledge and expertise in the field of medicine continuously, then you are obsolete. So you'd better choose another field of study. And I think that there is so much to be done by government agencies, namely the Ministry of Education, for example, because you need to revisit the issue of the curriculum.
Yes.
At schools, you drop all the hours that are dedicated for other activities. Rather, other than teaching, what I mean.
Yeah.
You drop them in order to complement the curriculum
Yes.
before the end of the term.
Yeah.
Which is something really a pity, because you need to work on the individual that you have, the pupil, the student,
Yeah.
Yes.
girls and boys. You need to work on their all-encompassing kind of competencies.
Thank
So,
you very much. Yeah.
Sport is one, innovation is two, but spoon feeding, which is until now is the practice.
Yes.
It doesn't go anywhere. There was a piece of research at the university among our students at the university, and they found that the higher cognitive skills of our students are missing.
Wow.
Yeah, the students are learned how to memorize.
Yes. Yes.
How to memorize, by heart. They can memorize everything, but they cannot synthesize. They cannot transcend this kind
Information.
of border or boundaries
Yeah.
between memorizing something and assimilating what you have learned and turning it into practice and implemented, which is the malady that we are suffering.
Absolutely, Dr. Mahdi, and I suffer this with some of my students as well. When you teach them a concept and then you get a question in the exam, which you get a question out of the box and you test their knowledge, and they come up to me after the exam and say, "We didn't take this," because it is it's not the exact word by word that they have in the text.
And the problem is, of course, it's too late for the university to put right what is
yes, it should start at
been
school.
put wrong throughout the 11 or 12 years of studies.
Yeah.
So it is something that complements what has been achieved at a later stage, at a earlier stage.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mahdi. We've thoroughly enjoyed, and certainly a lot of what you have said is featuring in our take-home messages. Thank you very much for accepting again our invitation, and you've been a star again. Shukran.
Thank you very much, and Ramadan Kareem to all.
Alayna alayk.
I just wanted to comment about one thing that both Dr. Mahdi and Hadil mentioned, and that's about they both highlighted the importance of the younger generation. It should start at a very young age. Reading is a habit that needs to be adopted from a very young age, and the fact that the children should have a choice of their reading. So I noticed this with my children. I have 2 kids, 6 and 3, and they both have their own personalized libraries with their pictures and names on it, and they feel the sense of belonging. And I make them choose the books that they want to add to their library. So they have Arabic books, English books for each one. And they know that, of course, they can share because books are for all. So I noticed over his development of the years, he started first with Cars and Lightning McQueen and all these kind of books. And then he started shifting into dinosaurs. From dinosaurs, as he grew older, he went into planets and space. And now he's into the human body.
Wow.
And this is not without any influence from both me and his dad as a parent. This is absolutely his choice. So we'd walk into the library and say, choose your book.
We have another call again. This is our second guest, is Mr. Khalid As-Saf Al-Haribi, who is a social entrepreneur who has a BA in political science from the USA, MBA from the UK. He has 15 years of experience, 5 years as a university lecturer, 5 years as advisor at US State Department. In 2008, he co-founded Tawasul, a social enterprise think tank focused on empowering civil society. He's a former social investment manager at BP and currently the country representative of Silatech. So, Mr. Khalid, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ahlan wa sahlan. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and being here with us. I think.
Thank you very much for inviting me. The sound is breaking up a little.
We also can't hear you very well. I think maybe you're driving or something.
No.
Okay. Because as if there is wind or
drive and use the phone policy.
Okay. Because it's the line is not very clear. Probably it's I don't know. As if there's radio. Is it the radio on?
Yes.
Okay.
No, now it's fine.
Okay. You've, as you know, today's topic is about reading. Yeah, we were a little bit, diagnosing our situation. In your opinion, what is it that will really rescue us from this situation, and what is the quickest way that we could actually take ourselves out of the situation and into a situation where we are we make it as a habit to read?
Well, truly, I've enjoyed your conversation with Hadil and Dr. Mahdi.
Thank you.
And I would say that the most important thing about reading is just to remember why are we reading in the first place, and why do societies read? And the main idea behind reading is to know and to expand our knowledge.
Yeah.
When societies or when people or individuals do not read, it's a sign of a deeper issue, that people do not realize that there are so many things out there in the world that they do not know, and hence this is why we don't read. We need to instill in ourselves, in our youth, and like Dr. Mahdi said, reading is contagious.
Yes.
So what we need to instill in people is the same thing that our religious teachings teach us since we are little.
Yeah.
When it was first recited in Quran to read or to Iqra, it was for the purpose that mankind should read so that they learn the things that they do not know.
Yeah.
Reading expands our mind. So the most important thing is to instill in our youngsters that there is no such thing as complete knowledge. We should always learn, whether we are as little as 4 or 5 years old, until the day we pass away.
You mentioned
that's the main thing.
Okay, sorry. You mentioned earlier that without reading, you miss out a lot of what is happening in the world. I could very easily hear someone from the youth saying, well, I don't read, however, I have technology. I have WhatsApp, I have the internet, I have a lot that will keep me aware of what's going on around the world. Is that a fair counter-argument? And will technology really help you understand the world as it is? Or is it more understood by reading? And what's the difference between the two?
I think the argument could make sense, but it might not be 100% valid.
Okay.
Because the main idea behind that we as human beings are encouraged to think is to learn and to figure out how do we make the blessings that we have complement each other, not replace each other. So God gave us, for example, the ability to think so that we can figure out the relationship between, for example, reading and how do we use technology to enhance our knowledge. So if WhatsApp, if Instagram, if Snapchat are used in a way that expands our horizons, then we are doing it in the right way.
Yeah.
But if it is used as something that diminishes our attention span, then this is not what they are meant for. And this is why in all intellectual endeavors, in religious endeavors, in the Quran, we are always encouraged to think and to analyze. And so I would really encourage youngsters. The idea behind technology is, yes, it's entertainment, but at the same time, it's also information. How do we use technology to expand our horizon?
Thank you very much for that. I mean, it really clarifies a lot about the role of technology, and is it really a contender against books? And really, it shouldn't be. I think Dr. Lamia, we spoke about a study that you have shared.
Yes, I mean, it was regarding using a physical book versus an audio book or using the internet. And there are studies that show that actually the benefits on the brain on using a book, a physical book to read, is much higher than using an audio book, even if it's the same book.
Yeah.
So actually using it, to reading a book makes a bigger difference and have a better benefit on the brains than an audiobook. And this was done, so there was an MRI scan done on an individual who did reading from a book, or the person who used an audiobook.
Yeah.
And they noticed that more areas of the brain was activated when that person actually read from a book.
From a physical book.
From a physical book, because that involved more senses and more skills.
And that's what Mr. Khalid mentioned.
Exactly.
Is that you need to involve all the senses that we are blessed with from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Exactly.
Mr. Khalid, one more thing. Are you still there?
Yes.
Yeah. One final question. What you have said and Dr. Mahdi has mentioned fits really nicely with an observation that is made by our first caller, who says we employ a lot of Omani graduates, new Omani graduates, but we feel, and I'm not quoting his words, but what I understood is that they are a little bit more shallow in the information they have. They focus on reading more newspapers or read about football rather than read things that would really widen their horizons. Do you think there is any correlation or a relationship between being responsible and being deep in the way you think, the way you behave, and between reading?
I think that's a really very fascinating observation by your caller, because there has been a lot of talk recently about whether we are changing as readers and as human beings, essentially because of technology. There is an opinion, a scientific opinion really, that because of the technology and information and communication technology, our attention span is becoming shorter, and hence we are becoming shallower. I would actually counter that argument. I think that we are evolving as human beings, and we are, like Dr. Lamia said, we just need to stimulate all of our senses so that we exhibit the knowledge that we are absorbing. I remember, for example, from my childhood, I got introduced to reading through radio, not through actually reading books, because of the BBC. I was very interested in BBC Arabic service when I was little. And then it encouraged me to read other books. And then I started by the same thing, the argument that you've mentioned right now, by reading sports magazine. There was a popular sports magazine called the Saqr. Then it evolved into Majid. And then it went into reading, encyclopedic books. But the idea is, how do we make it attractive to the different senses that differ from one human being to another? I just think what we need to do is to dig a little deeper and to use the different very wonderful initiatives like the public libraries of Kelmetian Ras that was sponsored by Oman Oil.
Yes.
Why don't we try to encourage the private sector to change the format of the public libraries?
Yes.
We don't need to start from zero. The real value of reading for societies is that it builds the cumulative wealth. How nations record their stories so that the coming generations build on those stories. So we can use, for example, the library of Kelmetian Ras as an example, and we build on it at an audio part, at the visual part, at even theater that encourages youth to read more. The really positive side is that the younger generation now is a lot more interested in knowledge and reading than probably our generation, because of the availability of learning resources. So the future is bright because there are so many. The technology is really opening doors for us to blend between all the devices that we have now, and to specialize our reading. There was one thing about reading that is intimidating for my students when I was teaching, which they thought that they have to read encyclopedic books and cite Paulo Coelho and cite Ibn Khaldun and cite so that they appear intellectual. Recent research shows that even from books, it is now fine, it is okay that you go to the chapter that you think you are interested in.
Absolutely.
It is not a must now that people become just walking encyclopedias. So perhaps just to encourage those who think that if I cannot read the whole books like my friends, then I'm not an intellectual. We can tell them that now it is fine to read a chapter or two that you think matches your interest.
Yeah, and I mean, thank you so much, Khalid. They very interesting points, and I totally agree with you, especially with in the field that you don't have to know everything about everything, because that's simply not possible. I mean, you can know so much about so many things, but if you're interested about a specific topic, then well be it. I mean, I personally like the Mind, Body, and Soul kind of Robin Sharma books, and positivity and success and all these kind of books. And I would definitely read more in that. But then I also like kutub of this, the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad. So it's not necessary that you have to, pick books from all different fields and feel the stress and the pressure that you need to know, all these different aspects. Pick something that you like, especially at the beginning, and then see how it goes.
I really love to encourage the family to look at an experience that I had. I had very good experience at the beginning with reading about how to encourage reading by, for example, we used to, they used to have something called the Stories of Nations, or Hikayat Alamiya.
Yes.
It really brings the world of stories and books alive to children.
Absolutely.
And then evolve, for example, from there to the stories of the prophets, to see how prophets use the power of persuasion, how did they overcome challenges, and then from there move to the specializations that people are interested in. It's all about how do we learn from the stories that have been recorded by others. If we approach reading as storytelling, I think we can make it very attractive to our society.
Thank you very much, Khalid, for you've given us a lot to really think about, to mull about, and certainly very good messages there for our listeners. So really appreciate you accepting our invitation again, and for all the valuable information you've given us. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Ahsan. Dear listeners, you are listening to 90.4 FM, and this is The Art of Living. Today's topic is about reading. We will break very shortly for the call of prayers, and we'll be back in a minute. So see you after the break.
Every time I close my eyes, I see in front of me.
Let's embark on a journey of knowledge and discovery. Let's learn from the extraordinary lives of the greatest in the art of living. The art of living.
Join the conversation with Dr. Wael Harasi and Dr. Lamia Al-Haj.
Every day.
From Sunday to Thursday.
240 to 3.
Welcome back to The Art of Living. This is 90.4 FM, and you can reach us on 24602058. That's 24602058. And today's topic is on reading. I believe we have a caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Who's speaking?
This is Rahma Al-Khalifi.
Ahlan sahlan, Rahma. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah. I'm very happy to be with you today. I'm very excited because it's about reading.
Thank you.
Because I am a reader addict. I cannot stand it being just one day without reading. From January 1st this year till now, I have read about 24 books.
MashaAllah. Can I ask you, before we go into the more, details, can you please lower the volume of the radio, please, because we can't hear you very well.
Okay.
Oh, switch it off, please. Okay. So from the 1st of January until today, that's 7 months, you've read 24 books.
Yeah, I am in number 24.
You are now at number 24. MashaAllah. And how do you manage?
I'm planning to reach 40 till December 31st, inshallah.
40 books?
Yeah, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Last year it was 36, so I'm just trying to increase it year by year.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. That's excellent.
It's nice to hear that.
When did you start? Let me just ask you, when did you start?
I was, I think, 10 years old. Because in my grandfather's house, there was a very big library with different types of books. So one day, I was very bored. I have nothing. At that days, we don't have WhatsApp, we don't have Facebook, we don't have Instagram. So, and I have that tendency inside me just for knowledge and reading. So I started with one book. I remembered it was a very difficult book for Marquez. So I understand nothing from that. Then I go to Agatha Christie, then to Najib Mahfoud, and so I developed that habit of reading. And what also encouraged me to read that I'm very loved with English language, and I studied just in a government school. And just to improve my English, I started to develop that habit of reading English. Now I'm reading in English much more than in Arabic.
MashaAllah.
So my English really has improved because of reading. Excellent. I do believe that reading is the key of success. Reading plus determination. By reading and determination, you can do whatever you want.
Absolutely. This is a really success story here, of someone who started at a very young age and started reading from your grandfather's library.
Yes, go ahead. Yes,
go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to say it's not a matter of quantity, it's a matter of quality.
Okay.
Because I know many people who used to read just novels. They just excluded themselves in reading novels. But novels at the beginning of our journey is very important. We all start with novels. But as you proceed, I don't think it will add for you that knowledge. Novels is just to expand your imagination. For example, some Arabic novels have very strong Arabic. It can improve your Arabic. But then what? Also, you have to set a goal for your reading process. It's not just reading the same sort of books. You have also to improve. The second point I want to really mention is that being a reader, you have to bear a very big burden and responsibility.
Okay.
Because being a reader, you always have to have that kind of flexibility, much more than others. Flexibility to accept other opinions, opposite opinions. Flexibility to understand the people who have the knowledge lower than you. If reading will not add to you this value, I'm so sorry to tell you that your reading still doesn't achieve the main goal of it.
Yes.
So it really shapes up your personality. It refines one's personality. And, someone might say that reading a lot of books will make you more knowledgeable, and hence maybe you'd always stick to what you know and stick to your own opinion because you believe you know a lot. But you are saying it's totally the opposite. When you read more, you become more easy to accept others as well because you understand where they come from.
It's reading with consciousness. This is the most important because you cannot accept all what you read.
Yeah.
I read so many books about religion. Some books about Sahaba, they are saying it's like that. The other books is saying something totally opposite.
Yes.
But at the end of the point, you have to use your mind. You have consciousness.
Yes.
Okay, at the beginning of your journey, you will become lost. But being lost is the most interesting thing in this journey.
Yeah, so you need to read and then use your intellect to decide whether to agree or not. And of course, the more you read in that topic, the more you will be able to do so. My question to you is: you said, mashallah, you're on your 24th book. I'm just very curious to know what time do you allocate? Do you have a specific time that you allocate for reading every day, or is it something random? Or because it sounds to me like you're a very structured person. So do you have a specific time that you use for reading?
I'm very obsessed with time. That's why I'm time obsessed person. Before I used to think that I don't have time, but it's not a matter of not having time. We all have 24 hours a day, but it's a matter of how to organize your time.
Yes.
I work from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and I reach home because of the traffic at 6:30. I go to bed 10 o'clock. So I have only 2.5 hours to spend with my family, to have my dinner, to have shower, to prayer, and love stuff. But the thing that I wake up morning at 5 o'clock, after doing my prayer and Quran, I just immediately go to work. Though my work starts at 8, I reach there 6:30. So half an hour, I'm just browsing the net, my internet, my Facebook, my Twitter account, and having my breakfast. Then from 7 to 8, it's the hour of my day I spend in reading.
Okay.
So, and
So it's
before going to bed, just 10 minutes I spend in reading.
So it's before going early in the
Of course,
morning.
Weekend, it's an exception, so I spend 2 to 3 hours to read. And also
Fantastic.
I have a habit that whenever I start a book, I make it just like something I have to finish it. It's a challenge. Even if I did not like that book. And there, by the way, there is nothing called ridiculous book or useless book.
Yes.
The book you think that it's useless, it will help you to differentiate between the useless and useful.
That's true. Thank you so much. Just we're running out of time, but we really, really appreciate your phone call and all your valuable inputs. And we really enjoy a very nice and happy reading on your 24th book. And good luck all the way to the 40th. Please stay tuned.
Thank you. And we hope that you could keep your number, please, with our director. We might need to get in touch with you later on, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's been great.
And have a nice day.
You too. Salam
Thank
alaikum.
you so much.
So I don't think we'll accept any other calls. We'll just, wrap up the show today. And it's been great. It's been great. We started with a very negative note. Yeah. And it wasn't our intention to, paint a very bleak picture. However, the last caller really painted a very bright picture of a very good example of an Omani who reads. And
I'm sure there are many of them out there.
Absolutely. We just want those examples to be on air. And I'm glad to be responsible, or partly responsible for them coming out and sharing the experience.
Their message,
and hope that I get some of the benefits as well.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Maybe take-home messages before we wrap up?
Take-home messages. Just before that,
yes.
She mentioned something about time. And a lot of people say, I don't have time, especially those with families and children. And, I spend an hour or two at traffic.
Yeah.
Let's invest in changing that time of traffic from a time where we really become frustrated, tired, waste of time. Let's turn that time into something useful.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have audiobooks in our cars. If we spend an hour a day, just an hour a day in traffic, and we listen to an audiobook, in the span of about 40 years, we would have read, if we do this day in, day out, just an hour a day in traffic, we would have read over 1,430 books.
That's easy books to be
1,430 books.
Amazing.
In 40 years, just using the time, investing your time in traffic. So reading is easy.
Adding to that, while is the time waiting in the hospitals or
in the barber shop, in hospitals, anywhere you go, just take your book with you.
Make it a habit to carry a book with you everywhere in the car. You never know when you're going to be stuck in traffic or waiting for a long time, and just pick up that book and you won't even feel the time.
It doesn't have to be a physical book. It could be a PDF format in your phone, in your tablet, Kindle, whatever. Our message: read more books, read less WhatsApp.
Yes.
Start very early. These are our messages to take home. Start very early. Make it a habit. How do you do that? Teach your children to start very early.
Absolutely.
Just by flipping books from infancy.
Yes.
Flipping books.
Newborn.
Newborns. Read more. Read a variety of books until you find something that you really want to get deeper into. It helps you become deeper in your thoughts, and you will be taken more seriously.
And better in conversing as well with people.
Yeah. I think that's it, Lamia, for today. It's been a great show. Thank you, all our listeners, and thanks for all who have participated and called us, or those who accepted our calls, and certainly Hadil from London. Thank you very much from me, Wael Al-Harrasi.
And Lamia Al-Haj.
Assalamu alaikum.